So my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin is currently at 102,700 TARTs US dollars. Last night we saw a wick down to 107,100 US dollars. So once again, all the stop losses were fished out in the middle of the night. The yellow alternative, which we talked about on, or rather last week on Friday, and which we also discussed in the Telegram group and clarified again in the Signal group, I already mentioned. Please secure your positions. In the end, that scenario was stopped out, and the blue scenario has now become much more attractive. How things will proceed from here, we'll definitely discuss in more detail in today's update video. Of course, we'll also take a look at the stock markets, on the Forex market, and what happened with our gold trade, so make sure to stay tuned until the end. But before we get started, please leave a like on the video, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, as I said, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and Signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, feel free to join there. The link for that is down in the video description. And if you're also looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we discuss here and want to grab up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses, you can do that as well on my partner exchange, BingX. The link for that is also down in the video description or in the comment section. So Bitcoin at 102,600 US dollars. What volatility? Last night it briefly shot up to over 106,000 US dollars before we then saw a sell-off of 2.5%, and then in the exact opposite direction it went significantly up again overnight, pushing all the liquidity up by another 4%. Nevertheless, the blue scenario is still intact, even though the sell-off has been delayed a bit to the side. It's all no problem, everything is still on time, definitely. Still, as I said in the Telegram group, and as I just showed you, we've secured the position, and that's why, yeah, we no longer have any risk at this point. Still 170,000 US dollars up there according to the heat map. That's where the next big chunk is now. We can see that quite clearly here. 170,000, 500, 100,000, 180,000. Sorry about that. It's also possible that we'll definitely come back up there again in the next few hours or over the next few days to scoop up the liquidity here. If we take a look at the whole thing on a 4-hour time frame, we actually have to say that the 4-hour close wasn't all that bad. So we've now nicely swept the high over here from May 12th. We even had a 4-hour close above it. After that, it started with some more liquidity fishing, and then this rapid sell-off. If we look at the funding rates, we can see that things are relatively normal at the moment. Of course, the funding rates have risen significantly over the weekend, but that's normal. When we see price increases over the weekend, more and more long positions enter the market, because retail traders are most active then. In my opinion, these have now been flushed out of the market for the time being. And if we take a look at the whole thing from a daily perspective, we can see that in the end, we've already taken out this high over here from January 29th, and even this high from January 24th. There isn't much left except for the all-time high, which is still there to be taken. Nevertheless, the market is currently reacting in a bearish way. Whether this has anything to do with the downgrades that took place over the weekend by Moody's, I think Rick mentioned that the downgrade by Moody's was now the last rating agency for the US. Let's just wait and see. Otherwise, there's currently a lot of volatility in the market. As I said, according to the heat map, we could still grab the liquidity up top. That would definitely be a crystal clear short entry for me at this point. To the downside, we don't have all that much at the moment. Of course, over the weekend, the longs came in, but they've now been flushed out for the time being. If we look at this over a 3-day period, we're already pretty much at the end. 102,000 US dollars would be the next step to target now. Those would basically be the lows that we kept testing last week, or where we temporarily had our short position open and kept bouncing off of. That means the liquidity is simply still lying below here at the moment. If we were to move up now, we could definitely head toward the all-time high again. So the all-time high is not off the table yet. Let's see what the new situation will bring this week in the end. Let's move over to the altcoins. What's been happening there? Ethereum is currently up, well, like this now. Ethereum also saw a larger sell-off over the weekend, or rather yesterday we had this spike to 2,587. Still at the moment there's a slight downward trend visible here, while with Bitcoin we're actually seeing the exact opposite. Yesterday we had another higher high here, or rather last night. Ethereum wasn't able to benefit from that and has now dipped down here for the time being. Still, as long as we, I'd say, hold this zone down here, things don't look all that bad yet. We could fall as far as 2,185. After that, if we break through this price range with a 4-hour candle, then things will really look bad. Because at that point, we basically have no support left below us. And what I mean by no support is essentially this series of candles here in indices, no support and just no pause during that pump we had a few weeks ago, or rather, yes, you could say a few weeks ago. But that means we would probably just crash straight through here without mercy. Depending on what happens in the next few hours, whether we go straight down from here, which I personally don't expect at the moment, because I think Bitcoin is still a bit too strong for that right now, especially now on Monday with another false move. And we might be able to reassess here and consider whether we should open to a small short position. But for now, stay on the sidelines and focus on Bitcoin. Let's move on to Solana. What has happened there? Here too, there was a sell-off, but unfortunately it didn't manage to reach that swing high. Up there at 192 US dollars. Unfortunately, it has to be said, because as mentioned, Bitcoin at 71,000 US dollars, but altcoins weren't as strong over the weekend. Altcoins were very, very disappointing. While Bitcoin is making new highs, altcoins are doing nothing at all, neither Ethereum nor Solana, and Solana is also very, very weak. Nevertheless, we had, or still have, the next support here at around 157 to about 156 US dollars. The 200-day SMA, as you can see here, the purple line, is also slowly but surely moving into this area, so it could lead to us dropping down here now. I'll remove this blue movement here for now, so that we go down here to test the 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame, and then make another attempt to move upward. That would also fit the Bitcoin scene, well, the more bullish Bitcoin scenario, and the upward movement in Solana wouldn't be at risk here either. Instead, it would just be a normal retest of our former resistance zone. And then we could start heading toward $190. Let's move over to the traditional markets. We'll start with gold. The trade was stopped out again, yes, for minimal dollars, I would say. You can see it here. We went back into the golden pocket on Friday. That means the stop loss was triggered after 2 take profits. But that's all okay. We had massive resistance up here. I also talked about this in Friday's video, that the 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame wasn't broken, but it needed to be broken for us to move up into this bullish case of around 3,300 US dollars. That didn't happen. And that's why we took the second take profit here again. And now we're just lingering around this zone a bit. We need to get above it. If we see another lower low, that would definitely be the new entry down here. So for now, I'll be staying on the sidelines until we see a decision here. That means down to about 3,100, and then another attempt if upwards. Before that, I probably won't be entering any new long positions here for now. Dow Jones, the Friday close wasn't really strong. We're already seeing the first signs of weakness here. Let's see how the market opens today at 3:30 p.m. Nasdaq. Well, the last few days, or rather the last 4-hour figures haven't been outstanding here either. We had this high at the 0.786 level, with these spikes pushing above it again, fishing for liquidity, but that's about it. So I really don't like the indices at the moment. And the DAX still has up here. Oh, I forgot to turn on the indicators. Pivots. So our trade is still in, but just by a hair's breadth. Didn't miss that our stop loss got taken out here. But let's see how the markets open now. It will be interesting to see, especially whether this downgrade will end up having any effect after all. Yes, and last but not least, there's still very, very little happening with the euro against the US dollar. Yeah, but I'll keep an eye on it. Unfortunately, I missed the chance on Friday to enter a long position here. I also didn't have an alert set up. Let's see if we come back down here again over the course of the day. Anyone who is already in should definitely secure their position just to be safe. And otherwise, if there's another opportunity here at any point today, please let me know in the Telegram group, in case I haven't already acted on it myself. But the goal is clear. I expect that we'll definitely see a recovery in the euro. Possibly even, though it sounds bad right now, so that we might go back up towards 1.17 to 120 US dollars, which would mean a stronger euro and a further depreciation of the US dollar. Otherwise, yeah, not much has changed. Let's see what today brings, or rather what the whole week has in store. I'm actually not that bearish, even if it sounds like I am. As I said, it would be great for Bitcoin if we could flip this high again here, or even reach a new all-time high. But, you know, for all the people who are always in my live streams, the scenario, or rather not those people, but the scenario that we might see something like what happened in 2021. That means another higher all-time high, maybe even up to 115K at most. and then down into a bear market to 50K. That scenario is still in play. I'm not trying to cause any panic. That's just my opinion. And otherwise, that's it from my side. I wish you all a great day. Feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and otherwise I'd say we'll hear all from each other again tomorrow morning with a new update video. Until then, ciao ciao, yip, and as always, stay crypto.